Erica, what have they done? They have put you in a position that is not your forte. I'll give you an example of where we are today. If all the world's a stage and everything's fake and everything's acting, then Erika Kirk is the equivalent of a Jason Statham or a Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Different movies, but they play the same character because that's their forte. They don't have a lot of range. You can see Denzel in different roles and different types of acting. But certain people are just really good at their specialty. Erika Kirk is very good at intimate, close quarter roles dealing with men and convincing men that she is madly in love with them. She is not a public speaker. She's not meant to speak to the masses. She's not meant to be a leader. She's not meant to publicly go on stages and consistently work to convince people that she's telling the truth. Those roles are usually for older women, heavier, more gaunt. She is a pretty small woman, and her job is, she's a honeypot. Her job is to make men fall in love. You know what they say, men are in love, women are in business. She's good at what she does. She has a history of it. Before she was at Turning Point, she was in Romania with the Romanian Angels. And what a weird coincidence, the person with the longest tenure at Turning Point USA is Tyler Boyer, and he was also with her in Romania, and there were 71 orphans under their watch. And none of us know what happened to those orphans. We know that they were removed from that. Erika Kirk and Tyler were kicked out of Romania, but we don't know what happened to the kids. We're going to have to find out. My point is, that's not her specialty. What she's doing now, them parading her on these news networks and in front of the world, well, it's blowing her cover. This is not what she was meant to do. She has a limited role. She's an access. But giving her to exposure means we're going to know too much about her. And when I say we, I mean the public. If she's going to ascend to the role of the First Lady of the United States in a few years by eventually marrying J.D. Vance, then she's going to have to put a lid on this cover. If the reason relationships fail nowadays with between people, it's because we know too much. We can meet a woman and then we can go to her Facebook and go back 7 years. We can see ex-boyfriends, you can see abortions, you can see everything. And then that messes with our minds. And even if we like you, we kind of want to separate from you. Less is more in these types of situations. That's why Erika needs someone like myself to kind of give her tips and guide her on what to do to not make yourself look suspicious. Candace is on the right track. And I'll be honest, for the people that are handling Erika, the people that are behind her, to put her in this position knowing she doesn't have the acting range to pull this off, it means they're desperate, and it means they had to pivot on a dime. They're pivoting because Candace has brought this to the light and exposed too much. And now they have to come up with a brand new plan. In essence, this boat of bullshit, Candace is putting so much pressure on the nuts and bolts that this bullshit boat is going to eventually sink. And that's why they're doing this tour, this unnecessary tour now. One of the few people on earth that loved Charlie Kirk was Candace Owens. And now I'm watching people like with the lights of Tin Pool out of the blue magically dedicating entire segments of entire days to Candace. They're no longer talking about the midterms, politics, the news. Instead, they're going after another podcaster. Candace Owens is not an elected official. She is not a mayor, a governor. She's not a priest. She's not anyone. She's not their mother. She's a mother of four. She's not even a registered Republican, I don't think. She's not in politics. She gives her opinion. She does a show. But like millions of us around the world, she's curious to find out the truth about what happened to her best friend, a man that we all seem to care about his outcome, which was Charlie Kirk. There's so many inconsistencies and so many problems, and Erika's making it worse. The angle she had before, where she was, the last time we had seen her publicly really, was when she had her hand, which was magically all of a sudden the same size as Charlie's hand, and she was crying. So it was curtain down, exit stage left. That's what we left with. The public can decide what they want to decide. But now she's putting herself out there, and she went on stage and said she forgives the man who she allegedly believes assassinated her husband. She has no smoke for him. She forgives him. But all of a sudden now, all of the anger and frustration in the world is dedicated towards Candace Owens. So you must have ran out of forgiveness. Are you fresh out? You don't have none left? Because you got a lot of energy for Candace, but you got zero for the killer. You know what that tells me? Maybe Erika is on to something. Maybe the reason she doesn't have any ill feelings towards Tyler is because she knows Tyler had nothing to do with her husband being shot. You know, there's so many questions coming up. And with a video that there's going to be a scene in a little bit that Candace is going to show. And I think I know what she's doing. She's clever, but she's going to replay the Erika Kirk crying over the alleged dead body. She's going to play that for us, and she's going to freeze the frame at a particular point. And she wants us all to know something. Everyone around the world is going to see this right now. You know, these people think they're slick sometimes. They think that because when you're in their situation and you're them, you don't realize everyone's watching. This means a lot to a lot of people. You're not going to be able to want to go public about everything, but then want to be private about other things. That's she referred to that correctly as the Macon Merkel syndrome, where you want to be famous when you want to be famous and turn it off. That's not how it works. You know, once you put yourself out there and you jump into this, you got to be prepared for anything that comes along with it. Candace is doing what any good friend would do, but what any intelligent person would do. What if we just said, who cares who kills Charlie Kirk? Let's focus on politics and winning the midterms. And then later, because that's how what all the conspiracy theories come through a year or two from now, we find out that the people we supported in the midterms were the people that were behind harming Charlie Kirk. Well, now we backed the wrong bull. Until we figure out what happened to Charlie, everything must stop. Right here, right now. I don't even want to participate because I don't know what is what anymore. Every upside down is now on the top. Everything that was left is now on the right. We have no idea what's happening, and we need to get to the bottom of it. All this cloak and dagger, all the secrecy, all the manipulation, I'm over it. The only person talking straight to us, keeping her cool, and just talking to us like people is Candace. Everybody else that's getting angry and emotional, I immediately do not trust them because I'm a man that dates women. I've had a lot of girlfriends, and every time I had a girlfriend that was lying to me, they turned into Tim Pool or they turned into Erika Kirk. They start crying, and when I don't buy them crying, I don't buy the tears, they start screaming and yelling as if that's going to sway my opinion because you're mad. Go watch Tim Pool. Look at what he's saying, all the insult. He's hurling out fighting words, knowing that Candace has a husband that you might have to bump into one day. He's still sitting there going on a diatribe of nonsense. And it's so ridiculous. But, you know, if you watch my video from last night, we figured out who butters his toast now in his financial situation. And all those diatribes and all that insults about Candace for a week straight was his audition reel. And I think he got the part. He auditioned for the same role that Brandon Tatum auditioned for. I think they have two new leads, and both of those men are now going to be assigned to attack the enemies of the place that's been magically just giving out grants and passing out money to people to make posts for them to try to help with their propaganda campaign. And that's a beautiful country in the Middle East by the name of Israel. Candace has been their biggest foe, And now we're watching prominent conservative people on the right, or who we considered on the right, literally going after these people for seemingly no reason out of the blue. Tim is a podcaster, so is Candace. The two they're on the same page, but they don't even interact with each other, live in different states and everything. Now Tim is making what this woman says his business. Isn't that something that men should have learned a long time ago, is to stay out of women's business? You can't tell a woman how to speak. You can't tell a woman how to behave. And when you try, you make yourself look weak. He's a fairly analytical guy. He knows this, but a job is a job, right? And that's why he wanted to tell everybody how much money he's losing and how much money how he can't afford to keep doing a show where he's doing what I'm doing, talking into a microphone while looking into a camera. It's a little too expensive, apparently. I don't know what kind of equipment he's using. I likely way better than mine. I'm using a cell phone. But in his monologue of why he's going broke, he's basically pleading for someone to come rid him of these bills. And he let them know, I do play ball, and look at the results I've already gotten. I noticed today on his video about Candace again, 156,000 views. But his video yesterday, which wasn't focused on Candace, 63. So there's a lot of money in trashing people. People want to see the infighting. People want to see the catty reality show mess. But I'm here for the facts. I'm here to analyze the information that we're given, and I'm here to try to figure out what's going on. So Candace is going to play these videos of Erika, and we're going to talk about where she's going wrong.
Just been in the air regarding where Charlie Kirk is buried. That question resurfaced this week in a big way because Milo Yiannopoulos and a few others have asserted with absolute certainty that Charlie has not yet been buried. That's what they're saying. They say they have proof of that. And at first, Harris Faulkner is asking about that claim. Take a listen.
Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public.
Are you including his execution? What else? What do you mean everything was public? And what do you mean one thing? What do you mean? You want to build a crypt of your husband? You want to have a secret unmarked grave in your basement that you and your kids and in-laws are the only ones that can go visit it? Are you want to create like a mausoleum or something? Or what are you talking about? You want something for yourself? Do you want something public so that his fans can go visit and pay respects? Or do you want something where you're going to pretty much put him in your backyard and have security where nobody can see the grave? Or is there no grave? I'm starting to have my doubts. There were special effects people in the audience that day, verified. I was watching a tutorial on how they build prosthetics around people's bodies. And he had a really weird, strange bulge in this picture, this shot that they had that was unedited. And I was like, why is he making that face? And does he have a tonsillitis? Like, well, what's going on? And then a few minutes later, we're supposed to believe that just all this fluid magically shot out, but there's no exit wound. And apparently his spine is made out of the same metal that Wolverine's is made out of. And that's why a 30-06 bullet wouldn't just knock his head clean off. It would just bounce off and turn to shatter into debris. But yeah, let's we'll go over those. We'll go over those points in a second.
We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing?
So you want to have something that's private, but you also want it to also be public at the same time. So that's a double-minded person. That's somebody that's brain is going in two different directions, which means that she's not the one talking. There's someone giving her points and there's someone who's instructing her. Again, Her forte is honeypot operations. I'll give you an example. This is Erika Kirk back when her and Charlie became engaged. They've already been seeing each other and sleeping together for a while. This is her playing her role, pretending to be overly obsessed with this guy that was never used to women having any interest in him at all. She's looking at him like he's Leonardo DiCaprio when the movie Titanic came out. But he's just Charlie Kirk. And this is Charlie Kirk 2018. This isn't Charlie Kirk 2024. That muffin, that stud of a man. This is the old Charlie. Take a look.
I'm not going to be able to focus sitting this close to him.
She said, I'm not going to be able to focus sitting this close to him. I can't believe Charlie is here.
Hello. I'm not going to be able to focus looking right at you. I'm just going to be staring at you.
Hello.
Oh.
So back then he looked like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. And now you have this supermodel that has been doing beauty pageants for years, who took a sabbatical and went to work for some organization in Romania with children. And there was a Colonel Butcher, I believe his name was, or Booker, that ended up going to jail. And her and Tyler were ousted out of Romania. And then a short time later, she ends up applying for a job at TPUSA, even though her family lives in Manhattan and she's also staying in the Hamptons. So she comes from money. Why magically would you need a job as an intern working for TPUSA? See, she was assigned to Charlie. She was sent there and she did a good job. She separated Charlie and Candace. That's what her job was. She became his handler. This is the Erika Kirk Truman Show. Her job is to pretend that she is overly obsessed with this man every day of the week. When we all know that women, especially women that love us, they get tired of us and they don't look at us like this a year or two later. This is not normal. This is acting, but this is her specialty. Up close and personal, intimate settings to make men feel like she loves you. Even though a man should be highly suspicious, like, why would a woman who looks like this want me? But instead we're thinking, maybe I just got lucky. Maybe God just gave me one. We don't want to ever consider that we're being set up. And she was put there to be a handler. This is her role. This is her specialty, not what she's doing right now.
Wow.
Ready, Terrell?
Hold on.
We're rolling?
We're not.
All right, you'll be switching. All right, I'll count it down.
Wait. Kind of nervous, you guys.
She's nervous, which is why we must get going. All right, we ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Charlie Kirk Show.
You're gonna have to
can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing, this is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that, but this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
Okay, so on its face, I actually agree with that. I think that when people are being buried and where they're being buried and how their funerals are done, that is very private matter. Okay, so objectively, I agree with what she's saying. Okay, but subjectively, because we are dealing with the subject of Erika Kirk and what transpired immediately following Charlie's assassination, this is going to be read as Meghan Markle syndrome. Okay.
Again, what I was saying, I think the mic was off, is that this is Erika's range. Her range is the honeypot.
Hold on.
Her range is to get men who are unassuming to believe that she's madly in love with them and extremely attracted to them, and they fall in love with her and they become putty in their hands. The greatest weakness a man of prominence can have is a woman. Most men's downfall eventually will be a woman, whether a new woman, whether his wife, it doesn't matter. It's all, our whole world, our whole lives revolve around women. So ultimately, it will be the women that are in control of our worlds and that will dictate our outcomes. She's good at what she does when she's in her element. This is her element. Look at her. She's telling Charlie Kirk something he's never heard his entire life until that day. A supermodel beauty pageant winner is telling him, "You are so handsome." There's no way he was able to get out of this control. There's no way he was able to escape. This is her range. It shows extreme desperation that they're putting her on talk shows and having her speak to the public. This is not her forte. This is not her arena. Apparently, Candace touched enough nerves where they have to bring her back down here, even though she's been reassigned to J.D. Vance. Her next assignment is to become the First Lady of the United States, which is a good move for her because, remember, she's an asset. Whoever sent her to Charlie Kirk, and I think we know who sent her because her parents work for that same country. The same country that was funding Turning Point USA and made the company very rich. The same country that Charlie Kirk turned down that money from them, and he was dead a few days later. That same country she's connected to. And they have her doing things and doing acting roles that are outside of her range. And that's why it seems like it's falling apart. The stories of Romania are now going to come out because she's out here in the public eye too much. We know too much. People are starting to talk, and because we're Americans, you can't really stop us from talking. We're going to just say what we want to say. And, you can just counter us in the media. Make a video countering me, telling me I'm a horrible person and I shouldn't speak. That's not going to work. You're going to need some proof that can prove that I'm wrong and prove otherwise. But we're not wrong. Everything we're saying about Erika is true. She is a honeypot. She's not good at talking to groups of people. Men believe her because we think she's really, really pretty and cute. But women see through her because they understand how women are. They're manipulative. So that's why you see Tim Pool saying one thing and men agreeing with him, but women and most other people are saying, wait a minute, this is all fake and it's not true. And you're not going to get us to believe the other side either way. I know a little bit too much about women and people. I'm extremely analytical. I don't lead with my emotions. I lead with logic. I'm pragmatic. That's just how I am. I wish I could be wired differently. I'd probably still be with my ex if I could, but I am not.
Husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying. One thing, this is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that, but this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
Well, unless you're planning on keeping your husband in a crypt in your basement or in some kind of shallow grave in your backyard, you're not going to be able to do that. But again, she's double-minded. You can't want publicity and to have people buy stuff from you and be super rich, but also want to be low-key and private. You can't have them both at the same time. You have to choose one. And that's why Candace, describes it as the Baker-Merkel effect.
Okay, so on its face, I actually agree with that. I think that when people are being buried and where they're being buried and how their funerals are done, okay,
You know
some
what?
people maybe.
Look, we heard that part, but I want to get to the meat and potatoes. This next part is what's going to change everything for the world. A lot of people did not see this on X because this is the only place you could see this footage. It was on Twitter. A lot of people don't have Twitter, but now it's going to be on YouTube and it's on Candace's show. She's #1 in the world, not in the United States, not on the West Coast, in the entire world. And I'm talking about it's being translated into different languages. It's important. She's going to show you something that your brain, you're going to have to turn your brain off to believe that it's genuine and it's real. But any person with any sense is going to say, this is fake. It's all performative and it's all fake. Be prepared for what you're about to see. Take a look.
Perhaps want to have that memory. But the decision to publish that, you crying over your husband's casket and to publish his dead body on Instagram was a decision that was made by Erika. And we can watch that. Take a look.
I love you.
Now, I'm not a white person. My mother's white, but I'm not white. Now, is it normal that when someone who's white passes away, their hands shrink and their skin turns to plastic? Or is that not a thing? Or just because maybe when Charlie Kirk's spine turned into adamantium, maybe his skin developed some kind of carrot type protein that spread throughout. And we just didn't realize it, that he was a mutant from the X-Men. Apparently, because that's what we're supposed to believe. I was looking at the wedding pictures between Charlie and Erika when they had their hands together. His hands were easily triple her size. She's about 5'3". Charlie Kirk was roughly 6'5". So that means he was even taller than me, and his hands were probably about my size, maybe a little bit. It could have bigger hands. I have big hands for my size, but he could have bigger hands than me. Her hands would be dwarfed. It would look like a dwarf is holding a giant's hand. But if you look closely, her well-manicured, cute little fingers seem to be the exact same size as those plastic-looking hands she's holding. Now, post-mortem, if you're telling me that if you're white, that your skin, even with bronzer, turns into a plastic complexion and your hands shrink, I'd believe you. But right now, whoever gave her permission to put out this video, but you got to think about it. There's also a camera person there too. This isn't her with a selfie stick. This is a production. This is all fake. Everything is fake and gay. For you to believe her hands and his hands are the exact same size, and he just turned into a plastic colored man because he died, to believe that requires you to be at least on a scale of 1 to 10, 0, 1 being regular gay and 10 being Milo Yiannopoulos gay. You're Milo. You're way up at the top gay if you believe that this is a real human hand. And if it is, who is holding the camera recording you? And I'll be honest with you, I work in production. I do my own little skits and shows. I bet you this was take number 4. I bet you the first time her looking at this plastic body, she has to pretend it's Charlie. I bet she broke out laughing. They had to start over again. She got more serious, but it wasn't good enough. So they did it a third time and it was really good. And then a photographer said, you know what, Erika, give me one more. And that's the one they released to the public. But hindsight's 2020. They didn't realize that people were going to be comparing hand size until it was too late. But think about it. If you could just tell people that you're evil because you question me, well, then people are going to be afraid to ask questions. I've been called evil for years. So I don't mind. You can call me whatever you want. I'm going to bring up the fact that her hands and his hands are the same fucking size. And the man is over twice her height. Charlie Kirk was a big man. He played sports. He did not have tiny hands. It's not like, oh, we go look at their wedding photos where they're holding hands together. His hand wraps around her hand twice. He's like a damn near an NBA player. So you got to keep in mind, they want you to believe that this is a real hand and this is his real body, but he's not buried anywhere. So we know this isn't his body. He's not buried in a crypt or a mausoleum. He's not in the ground. Where, oh, where are they storing his corpse and why? And you see, that's where these strange theories about him possibly still being alive and the prosthetics shooting out all that blood. That's where that all comes from, because they keep showing us fake people. They keep showing us fraudulent, fake stuff, production stuff. This is a prop. This is a fucking prop. All of the world's a stage. Everything is fake and gay. Candace is right.
I know. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
I've never heard somebody tell a dead person, God bless you, unless they sneezed. But maybe I don't know a lot of dead people. I don't know.
That is an incredibly personal and an incredibly intimate moment that you invited the public into. Okay.
But no. Let me know in the chat. Do you agree? This is a very weird thing to post online. But also, did you or did you not notice her hands and his hands are now magically the same size all of a sudden? Let me know in the chat. Is that a normal thing? Now, I'm on 8 different platforms. I'm going to reply in the chats wherever I can see them. But is that a normal thing? Do the hands of a man shrink when he passes away? Let me know what you think.
There was no reason to do that outside of wanting to share something that was very private with the public. And now you fast forward 3 months removed, and it's why does the public want to know where he's buried? It doesn't work like that. You have to make a decision. I want this always to be private, or I want this always to be public. That's my personal feedback there. Later on in this same interview, she launches into a strong defense of Turning Point USA employees who have, just as a matter of fact, told many lies, many inconsistencies. These are verifiable. So they are currently lying to the public, or they have lied to the public, but she is going to deliver quite an impassioned defense regarding these particular individuals and the organization as a whole. And I want you to hear her passion. Take a listen.
You know, before we even listen to that, do you know when she's referring to her TPUSA family, she's really talking about the security team that allegedly let her husband get killed? Let me ask you a question. Like, would I be crazy if say I was riding in an Uber and my driver was drunk, he gets into a bad car accident, we get out the car, and then all of a sudden the company Uber itself pulls up with another car and gives him the keys and says, hey, use this car to finish dropping this guy off. Would I be crazy if I said, hey, my driver's drunk and I was just in an accident with him, let me call a Lyft instead. Maybe I should change companies. The security team failed. They weren't able to secure your husband. Why are they still employed? Why are they still around? Why would you trust the same people to protect you who failed at protecting your husband who hired them? This is not just a lapse in judgment or blind loyalty. There's something else going on. She's defending the men that allegedly allowed her husband to get killed. Or did they not allow him to get killed? And this is just all a stage. And he exited stage left, bring down the curtain, the end of the scene, the audience claps. On to scene 2. There's something weird going on. Why is the same security team still around? Nobody can explain it.
What are they taking from you right now?
Nothing. but I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building.
So you mean to tell me that when she's in the beauty salon 5 days a week, getting her highlights redone, that instead of reading Cosmopolitan, she's reading the Bible? And that's why she's using Bible verses to assist her in her defense of the indefendable? Miss Erika, let me bring you into something. This is 2025. In just our modern era of recent memory, we have seen people abuse religion to the point that no one really trusts it anymore. You have to be part of one of the most devout cult mentalities and groups to even buy into it at all, unfortunately. Especially when we've seen some of the worst atrocities and the most terrible things ever done in human civilization have all been done in the name of religion, and where people use Bible quotes and verses to justify their actions in committing the most heinous offenses against other humans. So you bringing up a Bible verse right now in your defense of TPUSA is not helping. It's hurting, because we know that people use those books and those words and they misconstrue them and they weaponize them and they use them to basically beat you into submission so that you won't ask questions and you won't look. That's not the case anymore. We're past that. You're wasting your time. We're going to want to see facts. We're going to want to see evidence. We're going to want better explanations. And you're not giving them to us, which is a problem. And it's because you can't. Again, the reason she seems like everything is fake is because it is. And she's not good at manipulating women and people on camera. She's really good at manipulating men in person. It's her pheromones. She has this thing about her. Why do you think JD Vance is going to be with her? Why do you think he's so angry with Usha all of a sudden? This is the play. But now that the light is being shined on her, that could literally fuck up the plans for the whole JD Vance thing. So you guys need to get it together. You have to stay on point. You have to get on script. And right now you're making a lot of mistakes. Parading her around in front of all these people, knowing she's not good at this public appearance stuff, is a problem. And it's a huge oversight.
That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. Mm-hmm. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human.
What are you guys building? None of you have the personality or the charisma as Charlie Kirk. Well, who are you going to put on stage to convince a bunch of kids that they should be conservatives that believe in God? Who are you going to put Josh Hammer up there? You're going to put the amazing, spectacular Michael McCoy? Who are you going to do? You don't have anyone in your arsenal. There is no team. There is no turning TPUSA anymore. What TPUSA is right now is a piggy bank, and there's 100 hammers around it trying to figure out which angle to tap it to get it to spit out the most money. But now you have other people, like the people that pretended that TPUSA faith was an actual thing, and they're saying, wait a minute, you're going to need our permission about where that money's going to go. And actually, we've decided we want money to go here. You might have not known this, but Charlie actually, the day before he died, he said that I'm the CEO, and he said I should be in charge, and you should be in charge. There's a hostile takeover happening, and Erika Kirk didn't give two shits about it because she was reassigned. Now they're bringing her back down into the mess because Candace has stirred up so many questions, and the agenda is in jeopardy. We've seen this happen before. There's nothing new under the sun. We all deal with people. We all also have social media and the internet. We can see other situations that are similar to this and how they played out. We've seen enough murder mysteries to understand the wife was involved, maybe the chef. We all know how these things play out. There's nothing new here. There's nothing organic here. You know, they were looking for, somebody did a Freedom of Information Act request for They wanted to see the footage of when Tyler Robinson turned himself into the police station. A very simple request. You know, Charlie just passed away in September. They made the request in November. The police station said there is no video, that they think that the system overrode it. But that was the same for the video of them parking their car, walking in from the parking lot, the video of Tyler and his family in the lobby, also the interrogation video. None of the videos exist. All gone. But yeah, that's just a weird coincidence. And then magically the cameras that faced that part of the roof where Tyler allegedly took the shot turned off. And the door was open. Nobody was guarding it. And the drones were up at first and then they went down. So it seemed like a huge windfall of good luck just happened to fall in the lap of Tyler Robinson on September 10th. And he just had a string of good luck. But Charlie Kirk had a horrible run of bad luck that day. I mean, every security protocol failed. So everything went bad for Charlie and just good for Tyler in a magical windfall. And I'm supposed to just buy that with no questions. I'm supposed to just eat that up and say, yeah, that makes sense. I don't trust feds to save my life. I remember back when they tried to convince me that Trump told people on January 6th to storm the Capitol building. I remember when they framed and they literally were blamed for assassinating Martin Luther King, and it turns out that was true. But you think I'm going to trust a federal agent over actual witnesses and people that do investigative journalism? Never in a million years, ever. You think I'm going to trust the Department of Justice? We have a president now that the same DOJ was trying to put in prison 2 years ago for saying that he paid off a stripper, except he didn't pay her, but his lawyer paid her with money that he never gave his lawyer, but you wanted to put Trump in jail. Got it. But I'm supposed to trust you now about your nonsensical story about a assassination. That will never happen. And it's not just for me. My videos, because I translate these into other language, my videos are seen by people in different countries, and they have their own conversations. No one around the world is buying any of this stuff. That's like convincing me that an airplane on 9/11/2001 crashed into an open field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, but there was no wreckage. Basically, all the seats, engine, plane, and people just instantly disintegrated. I'm just supposed to believe that too. Pass.
We are all grieving in our own way, and they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard, and I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities.
Why would you send leads to the authorities if you believe Tyler Robinson killed your husband and you even forgave him without question? Turning Point USA's policy is they won't even acknowledge or look into any data that's sent to them or any evidence. They don't want to see it. They don't want it to contaminate anything. So what do you mean you're listening and you're sending over tips? What tips? I thought you guys had the killer already. I thought you know who killed your husband because you had no doubt about it when you said you forgive him. So do you got doubts or you don't? And if you do have doubts, and that's why you're still sending over tips, then shouldn't you be working with Candace instead of, sideways shaming her for looking into this murder? I mean, shouldn't you just be, if you loved your husband so much, shouldn't you be just as concerned and curious about who did what to him and why? I mean, if you're still sending over information to the authorities, you must have some doubts about Mr. Robinson as well.
Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever.
Candace Owens has never once disparaged, attacked, or called Erika any names. Candace Owens has never called her out of her name. What I said was Erika is an actor. She's good in her range. She's bad when you try to give her roles she wasn't ever meant to play. And right now they are upgrading her into positions that she wasn't fit for. How can you become the CEO of an organization that you were never involved with? And, you being a trad wife, you were staying at home with children, allegedly. So you don't even know how the organization works and you don't really know what to do. So why would they upgrade you to CEO? And since Charlie's passed away, what has TPUSA accomplished? And then where are you going to get money from next year? Why would anybody donate to you? What is going to be your role? What do you guys do? I remember what Charlie did, going around to different campuses, making content, speaking to and debating liberals and telling them change my mind, basically like the Crowder bit. What is Turning Point USA going to do now? I'm hearing they're going into real estate. I'm hearing they're doing maybe dog grooming. I don't know. But it's nothing to do with what they were doing before, because there's no one on your team as charismatic and as articulate as Charlie that can fill his shoes. There's nobody. But then also, even if you do meet somebody, you got to make sure that they're going to be extremely loyal to Israel and they're somebody who loves the fuck out of money. But it's hard to get those combinations, because people who are that articulate and smart, one day they're going to turn down the money. Charlie was taking the money in for a long time, and then one day he decided he didn't want the money from the Jewish donors anymore, because what they were asking him to do was to ignore reality and the facts. He said that I remember people saying, well, there's no evidence. Candace Owens is lying. He doesn't have text messages. She provides text messages. None of the people that said Candace was lying and that Candace is this and that, none of them ever retracted their words and apologized. I see them in the comments, and that's why I don't take them seriously. And I can't even, it's hard to address them. She's provided the receipts. You're in a sense of delusion. You're speaking out of emotion and anger, and you've bet on the wrong horse and the race is almost over and you can't get a refund. So you're just going to ride it out. You're not going to, stop and say, you know what, maybe I was wrong. Let's backtrack a little. Show me the rest of the information. I'm curious, because, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. Some people don't have enough humility to do so. Again, I read the comments. I do see what people are saying, but I feel bad because I'm thinking, is it a lack of knowledge, or are you rejecting information and that's why you don't know? And I guess we'll have to find out.
But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode.
And that's another problem here. The issue with people sometimes is that their mask starts to slip and you can see the color green on their skin. It's about money for a lot of people, and they can't hide their greed. The envy over the money, the financial aspect is what hurt. Candace is in her own lane. She built TPUSA along with Charlie Kirk for years. She was touring with TPUSA as recently as earlier this year and last year. No, last year, 2024, she was touring with TPUSA. So she knows the organization better than anyone else alive as of right now. To watch them pretend that Candace is just some stranger that doesn't know anybody there, didn't know Charlie, doesn't know what's going on, it's laughable. But she was there the whole time. And hopefully the people that are the naysayers in the back that are saying Candace is wrong for what? Wouldn't you want somebody to care that if something happened to you and the story they gave you was bullshit, wouldn't you want to have a friend like her? I would.
Going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this. No.
I'm sorry, but that whole thing right there is frustrating.
Well, I mean, it's frustrating for me because why are you watching Candace's purse? Why do you care how much money Candace is making? Why don't you just focus on countering the content of Candace's or commentary? Shouldn't the substance of what she's saying matter more than how much money she's making off of it? Why don't you care about what she's saying? Tell us what Candace is saying specifically that she's wrong or lying about. Now, you could be wrong. It doesn't mean you're lying. If you think one thing, but you're wrong, that doesn't mean you're lying. You're just wrong. People make mistakes. Tell us. Communicate with us. Talk to us. We are level-headed and we have open ears and we're listening to everything. Tell us where Candace is wrong. Tell us where Candace is lying. Tim Pool told me today, Candace has been attacking Erika. I'm going through all the records and even go check his comments. People are saying nobody attacked Erika. Why are you lying? Why are you making this up? It's a lot of that going on, but when people are paid, when people need money and you can pay them to make disparaging remarks about you, they're going to take the money. It's just a shame to look at. They're so jealous and envious over this money. And I know that plays a big part in why they had no problem getting rid of Charlie, because Charlie was asking for an audit of all the money coming in. So that means that Charlie would have found out about secret money also going out to people's accounts. They wiped him out. And I'll be honest, a lot of it was under the instructions of this country. But the reason they had no problem doing it was because they wanted access to that piggy bank. They wanted that money. And look at her. Erika Kirk even brings up Candace's money. All these people are all about money. Charlie was the only one that really didn't care about money. I never seen him pull up to a TPUSA event with a Ferrari. He wasn't driving a Lambo, and he's worth millions. He had a nice house for him and his family, but he wasn't worried about splurging. But everybody else around them was watching him, and they were like, that's the golden goose. If I could just cut that goose open and pull out those eggs, I wish I could. And you know what? Somebody made them an offer where they could get access to those golden eggs, and they took it. But I'm supposed to believe that these people love Charlie more than they love the money? These people are pastors. These people are con artists for a living. And you think they cared more about Charlie than money? These people were trafficking orphans in Romania, or kids. Do you know what they said about that Romanian Angels case? You want me to bring it up? I could. You know what? Why don't I? Let's see here. The Romanian Angels. Let's see. Actually, there is a news report about it.
Today, the conservative group known as Turning Point USA makes its first trip back to Utah since its founder, Charlie Kirk, was killed there.
And Kirk's widow, Erika, leads the organization now and has been the subject of several rumors on social media. Paul Spey addresses one of them for PolitiFact.
I bet a lot of you never seen this.
Is Erika Kirk banned from a European country for trafficking children? Well, some people are saying...
You know, anybody can make a rumor about anything. Anybody can just say something. Why would you need a news report on a nationwide news channel? Why would they even bring it up or care to address rumors? You know how many other rumors are out there? What if there's a rumor that says Batman was a real person, but he was actually half cat, half bat? And they did a segment showing how cats and bats could become hype. No, they would never do that. They wouldn't. So why are they doing this? But let's see. Let's see what they say.
Social media, you can see a couple of the posts here. They claim that Kirk is banned from Romania after being accused of child trafficking. Is this right? No. What are they even talking about here? Well, before Erika Kirk got married to Charlie Kirk, she founded a group called Everyday Heroes Like You. That group had a project called Romanian Angels, which partnered with the Marine Corps and orphanages in Romania. Now,
what the fuck are you talking about? I don't even know what they're talking about. Well, actually, they do have a group called the Romanian Angels, and they worked with the military in Romania with an orphanage. Did this fucking guy just hear himself? This has to be the most asinine 10 seconds of my fucking month. Let's go back to him saying, what are they even talking about? Let's go right here. Listen to what he says. Listen to the bullshit. This is TPUSA. This is Erika. This is Tim Pool. This is how full of shit they are running cover for TPUSA and all the fucked up stuff that's going on. They're all being paid to run cover. This is just another example. Let's run it back again, shall we?
Of child trafficking. Is this right? No. What are they even talking about here? Well, before Erika...
Well, you see, he said no. What are they talking about? Then he fucking proceeds to tell you exactly what we're talking about.
Kirk got married to Charlie Kirk. She founded a group called Everyday Heroes Like You. That group had a project called Romanian Angels, which partnered with the Marine Corps and orphanages in Romania. Now,
they were convicted of running a brothel of underage orphans on a Marine base in Romania. That's what the charges were. Heads rolled. And then there was a soldier that actually killed some of the men that were participating in the brothel. That's why it became a big scandal. He couldn't deal with hearing these kids being tortured, is the other word I'll use. I won't get too graphic. And these are the stories. There are reports. There was a criminal case filed, and Erika Kirk and Tyler were there, and then they left. And then there was another general that went down for it, a general who Erika Kirk shouts out in the future. So we all know they worked together. When I tell you it's not just about money, a lot of this stuff is about children. And they always want an orphanage because an orphanage means there are children with no parents. They want kids. The border is closed. What were they doing at the border? They were bringing kids that were kidnapped from Central and South America to sell here in the United States. What else is what is a kidnapped kid called? An orphan. This was always about children. Every time you look up, there's some shady religious person talking about going to open up an orphanage in some other countries, some third world country. There's no oversight. And then the orphans come up missing, and you know they say, oh man, the orphans must have, they're runaways. They ran away. Why do you think Russia banned a lot of these people from even being able to adopt Russian children? I mean, there is a huge thing with child trafficking, and these churches are involved. And you're not allowed to question them, or they'll say you're really just questioning God. And that's how they get you to shut the hell up. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for a lot of us.
To fact check these rumors about Erika Kirk and her group, we looked for news articles and crime reports about this subject from both the U.S. and Romania, and we found some stories like these. An Israeli newspaper reported on adoption agencies that were under investigation.
Romania probes Israeli adoption agency link in organ trafficking. So basically, these orphans that are young, they were having their organs removed and sold to people, and their bodies were discarded. They were basically used to replace organs for older people. I was definitely trafficked. Romanians adopted as kids now seek justice, answers as adults. So they fact checked us by verifying everything that we're saying. And you don't think Charlie eventually found out about this, looked at Erika with a side eye? You got a beautiful blonde bombshell wife at home, but out of 365 days a year, you're on the road for 300. You're never at home. And then when you are at home in Phoenix, you're doing your show at the office. How often do you and your wife even get to sleep in the same room? Maybe he was avoiding her on purpose because he didn't want the confrontation. Or maybe he found out who she really was. No matter what, whichever one theory it is, they found a way to remove him. And now she has to just pretend and run this game like she was just so in love and she just cares so much. Lady, if you don't get the hell out of here. Charlie Kirk was on the road more than Stephen A. Smith. Come on.
And an outlet called Radio Free Europe reported on orphans who say they were trafficked from Romania, but neither of these stories mention Kirk or her organization. In fact, we found no reports implicating Kirk or her group, and there's no evidence that she's been banned from any country.
It's because you're not necessarily looking into it, and you don't want to disparage, and you don't want to be sued. You're a news agency, so these people told us the truth, but then they say, well, semantically, they didn't really exactly name her specific. She was a young girl. I'm sure there were adults behind her, but why was she even there at barely 20 years old in Romania? Her and her mother opened up a Romanian Angels out of the blue, 17 years old. She's there for years managing orphans. Where are these orphans at now? Should be 71 of them. Let's see if they're even still alive. But anyway, again, that's not her forte, doing public speaking. And they have her here doing this. Her forte is honeypot, making men fall in love with her based on her looks. Women see through it. and they don't trust it. And all the pretending that you're a religious woman and all, nobody believes that neither.
And I'm going to explain to you why I just do not accept any of that. First and foremost, the idea that she does not have time. Okay, she definitely has time, okay? She's done Hannity, she's done The Five, she's done Fox and Friends, she's done Outnumbered, she's done Megyn Kelly Live, she sat down with the New York Times. She made time, by the way, in case you don't remember, to fly to DC for Sergio Gore to be sworn into the ambassador to India, as the ambassador to India, which feels kind of obscure and not necessarily related to Turning Point USA affairs, building affairs, or whatever it is. But sure, that's fine. I mean, obviously, you're also allowed to be a person if that's the homie and that's what you want to do. Sure. But we are indeed speaking about a coast-to-coast flight to stand up next to somebody and basically say, Charlie loved you. That was like the whatever 15-second speech that she gave, right? Here's actually, we have a clip of that speech that she gave.
Yeah, and this is really weird too. She had never met this man, Sergio, a day in her life. But here she is saying how much Charlie loved the fuck out of this guy. But see, one thing's for sure, everybody that Charlie knew, Candace knew. Candace knew his closest friends. Him and Candace were together for years and working intimately on projects, traveling together. They were best friends, and I'm sure the lines could have got blurred temporarily short term, but obviously she loved the man more than anyone else in his circle. And then you see Erika screaming about this guy, Sergio, and Candace is like, I have no idea who this is. And when would Charlie have known this person? Charlie's been on the road for years. Charlie didn't have friends in India. He never spent a lot of time in India. Didn't know this guy. And look at what Erika says. Like I said, her job is honeypot. Her job is to make men believe her. She's bad with women. Women are going to doubt her. Men are going to believe her. Men are going to defend Erika Kirk because she's cute and she's blonde and she has blue eyes and she looks like a little Barbie. Women are going to see through her. You cannot trust men because we're shallow. You can't listen to us when it comes to certain.
We're also very good friends with a guy named Charlie. We just knew him as Charlie, and his wife, who we love so much, is here with us. And maybe you know how close they were together. Maybe, Erika, you could say a couple of words, please.
Honored to, sir. Charlie loved you. It's hard not to get emotional because I know that he would have been the first phone call when he found out that you were going to be taking this position. And the way that I was able to witness the two of you work together for years and to champion and support the president was absolutely humbling to witness. And I am so proud of you. And Charlie is going to be with you every single day in spirit. And I will be praying for you every day because I know that this is just the beginning of an incredible opportunity for you. And sir, thank you for allowing Sergio to have this beautiful moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dorothy.
That's just an ambassador to India swearing in ceremony. Again, if that's your friend and you want to be there, that makes sense. She's also a person, and she can decide what she wants to do there. But the point that I'm making is that's a coastal flight that she made to be there to watch a paper get signed. She has also made time for an upcoming CBS News town hall sit down with Barry Weiss, which was filmed today. So
she has time for everything and everybody except to sit down with her husband's best friend to have a conversation. It's because she can't answer the questions Candace is going to have because she wasn't trained to. This is not her forte. She's only good with men. Erika Kirk is not good with women. And that's just the bottom line. A lot of this is going to come out. There's been too much pressure now because of Candace, because of Mr. Let Go, Ian Carroll, Rico Limbaugh, Jimmy Dore. There's too many people asking the same exact questions. And it would be simple to answer these questions and easy if the answer was going to be acceptable and non-incriminating. But the truth is too embarrassing. We're coming too close to it. I wouldn't be surprised if Erika Kirk cuts and runs one of these days. Because think about it. If the J.D. Vance thing falls apart, what is she going to have left? I don't know what her value would be. Eventually, this Turning Point USA money will be divided up. There's no way to replenish it because there is no Charlie Kirk. People don't understand. If you build a business, okay, say for example, right? Say you're a professional basketball player and you get endorsements, you get a contract with a team, you get a shoe deal, and then you're walking around talking about I'm a mogul. I'm a successful business. Yeah, you have accountants, you have lawyers, you have all these people and staff around you, but the entire business is really based on you and your body staying healthy so you can perform. And then say you decide you want to go, I don't know, skydiving. And then the parachute doesn't open. You hit the ground, but you survive. But you'll never play basketball again. But you're up 120 million from endorsements, contracts, movie deals, music, everything around you. You're a walking business. But now you can't play basketball anymore, and you're in a wheelchair for the rest of your life, paralyzed from the neck down. How long does that money last with all those people built around you? Matter of fact, how can they even replace you? What are you gonna do? Get another person that can play basketball good, put my jersey on him, and then he's gonna bring in money for us? No. That's where TPUSA right now is the people around the athlete. And Charlie Kirk was the basketball player that hit the ground but survived the parachute. Everything was built upon Charlie Kirk and him staying healthy. Charlie Kirk is gone. Candace Owens was the only other person that was on stage for him for TPUSA. She's gone. And the rest of these people look like evil villains, and they will not convey well with these audiences because they're inauthentic, they're lying, they're greedy, they're snakes, and people see that. Remember, these are Christian church people that they're looking at. So if you're a little bit out of whack, they're going to be like, that motherfucker's evil. That's how people are. It's kind of a cult in those communities, those evangelicals. And they think alike, they act alike, they dress alike, they spend time around each other. They can look at you and they hang on every word. And if you're saying something a certain way or they notice some mannerisms, they're not going to trust you. So TPUSA, the money they have now, they're not going to be able to make more because they're not doing anything for it. If they can hold the attention of their audience, Israel will probably pay them, but I don't think they're going to be able to. There's no draw to them. There's no allure. There's nothing. There's nothing. They can't even make content. They can't do anything. Everything's failing, and this whole situation is going to go bankrupt, and the money's going to get siphoned somewhere and divided. And then that's the end of TPUSA. I don't think it'll last another 5 months. It shouldn't, because they're not replenishing the money. Remember, he can't walk again. So all those deals and playing basketball, those days are over. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You built a house out of matchsticks. They built that whole ecosystem around one man named Charlie Kirk. It made more sense when there were two of them, Charlie and Candace. If one goes down, at least you still got one more as a backup to keep things going. They don't have that. So how the fuck are you going to make Erika Kirk a CEO? She's never been on stage to inspire nobody to do a goddamn thing. All she can tell me is how to find a good nail tech and a good hair person to do my extensions and my highlights. There's not shit else Erika Kirk can tell you how to do. Oh, unless she wants to convince you on how to make a man think that you're madly in love with him. She's real good at that.
Engaged. Would you like to introduce yourself, or should I introduce you? How would you like me to start?
Pretending she's a schoolgirl with her first boyfriend. Little did he know at the time she was trafficking kids in other countries with the other guy that was since the beginning of TPUSA, Tyler Boyer. He probably had no idea that her and Tyler used to be a thing too. So much going on behind your back. But you know, when you're a man and you're doing business and you're busy, you're looking forward, you're not looking back. I don't know when Charlie decided to stop and peek backwards and he noticed of the genocide and who he was defending. Then he started asking questions about all the people around him. He even wanted a new security team for some reason at one point. Everybody had a reason in his circle to get rid of him. I'll be honest, in my opinion, the reason Tim Pool thinks that he's being hunted and that he's important is because his own security team's running psyops on him. They keep staging swattings and fake shootings because he wants to cut the hours because they're a huge expense and his budget is going down because his ratings are going down. I think that they're convincing him that people are trying to kill him just so that he won't cut their hours. That makes way more sense than somebody wanting to waste a bullet on a beanie wearing milquetoast fence sitter. It just doesn't make any sense. But I mean, hey, let me know if Tim's ever said anything controversial. He wouldn't even speak out against the vaccine. He was so goddamn scared of losing his YouTube channel. So I doubt that he's really being too extreme about anything in either direction. What, saying that he thinks that he doesn't, he actually even, he believes in abortion. So he's not controversial at all. He's just there having random conversations. It was entertaining and I liked it because I never heard him once talk about money. Now that he's talking about money and Candace and it's all about money, well, then I can't trust what you're saying because you'll say anything for money. Now I got to find somebody else to watch. And if I can't find anybody else to watch, what I'll do is this. I'll make my own content and I'll watch videos of myself and I'll make my own. You know, sometimes you got to be the change that you're looking for. Me trying to find another content creator to do topics that I want to hear about. Why not just do that myself if I'm that concerned, you know, and just throw my hat in the fray. Besides, one day, a lot of these people are going to leave and there's going to be openings. And I guess I'm here and you guys can come listen to me and tune in. I've been getting lots of views lately on all the different platforms. My analytics are showing results. And I really do appreciate all your support. I appreciate you guys for visiting my sponsors, Table for Two, cosigning.com, Signature Suites. I do remember they are very grateful for you guys, visiting their sites and calling. I appreciate you guys for supporting my sponsors. Thank you very much. I have some more takes on this topic, but I'm glad we went over these points today, and it's on the internet for historical record. You can always rewind and go back. There was a little a segment where I accidentally hit mute, and so it was off for like 30, 40 seconds. But I hope that hasn't been an issue since then. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe. I don't really do a lot of call to actions telling people, oh, subscribe, but I'm the single boyfriend on YouTube. And I'm on 8 different platforms, the single boyfriend or the single hubby on X. So please like, subscribe, share. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll be back on with another video in about 20 minutes. Remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.